All right, so today obviously we're talking about heat pumps. We're going to talk about everything you need to know about them. And we have a great panel here. So I'd like you guys to introduce yourselves. Let's start with Varun over there.
Hello guys, my name is Braren and I'm working with Mitsubishi Electric. I have like almost 13 years of experience with the HVAC sector.
My name is Gary Hamer. I'm with BC Hydro as part of a market transformation group, and I'm a residential specialist engineer. Since I've been with BC Hydro, I've specialized in the residential sector.
Hello, my name is Emma Conway and I'm an energy advisor with E3 Co Group. For the past 10 years, I've been working on new construction, renovations, helping homeowners, helping builders make decisions to build their homes more energy efficient.
And hi, I'm Joe Vichima, Managing Director at the Home Performance Stakeholder Council. And for the last 12 to 15 years or so, my work has involved developing national standards, binational standards and codes with a clear focus on equipment-based energy efficiency.
Reliability of heat pumps, especially for a region like BC.
Properly installed, designed, installed, and verified, a heat pump will work in most of our climates. And I'll say with the proviso, in places like Prince George, you might need supplementary heat. But in a place like the Lower Mainland, I know firsthand that you don't need anything more than a good heat pump to provide all your space heating and conditioning or cooling requirements. With regards to the reliability, I think there was a manufacturer that brought it out this way. He says, do you ever worry about your refrigerator? And I think most of us would say no. You know when it dies, but that's about the only time you're concerned about it. And similarly, I think that we should be putting that much assurance that the heat pump will work if it's installed correctly. And you're doing minor maintenance, changing filters and cleaning out the leaves from the heat pump that's outside, but they should be reliable. And so the fear that they don't work stems from maybe the wrong machine was put into too cold a climate, or it was installed incorrectly.
Okay, so a good heat pump installed poorly is just going to not get you in. So that kind of leads me to the heat pump technology, where I'm going to look at you, Varun. Could you kind of walk through, like, another one of the myths is they don't work in the cold, how do they work? Can you kind of just walk through, like how a Mitsubishi heat pump actually kind of works?
Yeah, sure. So if we'll talk about two different types of technology, like a heat pump technology, we do offer standard heat pumps and the cold climate heat pumps. So if we talk about the Mitsubishi equipment, standard heat pumps are operational till minus 15 degrees Celsius. So those are the standard heat pumps. And if we talk about the cold climate heat pumps, their operation range is till minus 25, and some of the cases it's even beyond. Like some of the different equipments, like some of different type of equipment, it's even beyond minus 25. So with different climatic conditions, we offer these two different range of the equipments. This is just for the residential side, and if we talk about the commercial, then we have different SEs as well, so which is also till minus 15 and till minus 30. So it's like, even for the extreme conditions, even beyond minus 25, we usually say that if you need, like the locations for the Prince George and all that stuff, we offer a backup heating option if required. But heat pump doesn't even, most of the cases, heat pump doesn't require. Specifically in the Lower Mainland and all that stuff, we do not need a secondary source of heating because our heat pump are like operating till minus 25. The best part is the cold climate heat pumps are 100% efficient till minus 15. So if it is rated for 40,000 BTU, for example, it will deliver 40,000 BTU till minus 15.
So it's not that they don't work in the cold, they just become a little less efficient as it gets cold.
Exactly. So it will be operational even after that, but it will be slightly less efficient.
So continuing on this myth line, Emma, what are some of the myths that you hear most often? I'm also curious, which one's going to be your skin most?
I think the one that bothers me the most is that heat pumps are noisy. And maybe the heat pumps that were coming on the market like 20 years ago, yeah, they were noisy, but technology has come a long way, and if you're installing the right size of heat pump and it's operating properly, it absolutely should not be noisy. Another one that bothers me is the cost. A heat pump costs more money to operate than my house would running on a natural gas furnace. Well, if we think about it, do the math, and me and my boss have done the math. It's really interesting when you actually take a look at it. So if you have the exact same house running on a heat pump versus running on natural gas, yeah, natural gas might be a third of the price, but the heat pump is on average using a third less energy. So here in our climate zone, research has shown maybe the electric heat pump might be a bit more expensive, but we're talking about like maybe $100, $150 a year for, you know, a cleaner technology for something that is emitting less greenhouse gas emissions. Like, I would be happy to pay $150 more a year running my electric heat pump. And you have the added benefit of cooling, so it's just a win-win in my opinion.
Staying on the cost front, Gary, could you talk a little bit about the costs, especially like when you're comparing it to a gas furnace or something like that?
Well, it does depend on the house, and so you need to have someone that is capable of evaluating what size of heat pump you need, whether or not your existing ductwork has capacity to move the amount of air that you're going to need to satisfy the heat. And so those things need to be done. We're putting in place procedures to check the capacity of the ductwork and to doing a heat loss analysis. It's interesting, the Canadian Electric Code requires that all new homes be built using a heat loss analysis to F280. It's a CSA standard. And the grim reality is very few are using that. And so there's too many times that rule of thumb are adopted to the sizing of the equipment. And if you want to do it right, you've got to use a proper heat loss analysis. That's where folks like Emma can come into it and help with that. So it's really important that you get the right size of heat pump to work, because if it's oversized, it means it's going to be running on part load for most of the time, and you'll never have to use the full capacity. Whereas the gas furnace is a blunt instrument. It works in all weather, but they're generally, I'll say, oversized by quite a bit at times, and it's really important that a heat pump is properly sized.
So this kind of comes back to find the right contractor, which is when I look to you, Joma. Can you kind of talk a little bit about what homeowners should do to be able to find a good contractor around this?
Absolutely crucial part of the puzzle is having a capacity of qualified and still skilled contractors to install the equipment the right way. Gary talked about proper sizing and proper installation, and we hear this from homeowners a lot. What skills does a good heat pump installer need to have under their belt? What sort of training should they go through? So we got together with the industry first, so the HVAC industry, along with other stakeholders such as BC Hydro, the province, and Fortis BC, and we have started an initiative called the Home Performance Contractor Network. It is a central database of qualified contractors that meet a common set of training, accreditation, and quality assurance practices. So everybody is trained to a common standard defined by the industry and for the industry. And what's interesting is to sort of take this a step further. The membership into the Home Performance Contractor Network is mandatory for all major rebate programs in the province. So it was a collective action between all stakeholders to define a common criteria for heat pump installation training.
I wish we had that where I live. I'm from Massachusetts, and I've tried to find a heat pump installer for my new home, and the first person I got, I knew more about it than they did, and it was just like, whoa boy, I knew I was in deep water, and I had to find somebody that was better. If I had something like that, it would be so helpful.
Yeah, and I'll maybe even take it a step further. What do homeowners get? Well, homeowners get access to a set of contractors who are trained on common standards and best practices in equipment installation and commissioning. It is also helpful to homeowners because the the Home Performance Contractor Network also has a very robust quality assurance criteria where we can address matters that relate to quality installation and code of conduct issues that arise very commonly. So it's not just about training, but quality assurance as well.
That's fantastic. So, Emma, can we take a step into the step code for a second?